The rain began, not with thunder, but with secrets, 1,000 silver threads, weaving through ancient oaks, on the edge of a slumbering village. A forgotten path waited, drenched in twilight, hungry for footsteps. Before we begin, take a quiet moment to like this story. If it comforts you, subscribe to the channel for more gentle journeys, and let us know in the comments below where you're listening from tonight. We cherish your presence. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, into your blankets. Let your breath soften like mist over still water. Inhale slowly through your nose, filling your lungs with calm. Exhale through parted lips, releasing the day, releasing the weight. Again, breathe in the scent of damp earth. Breathe out tension in your shoulders. Notice your eyelids growing heavy like rain-kissed petals. Feel your fingers uncurling, releasing invisible stones. Listen to the rhythm of your own heart, like distant drums. Gentle, steady, soothing. Imagine cool sheets as soft moss. Your bed, a warm hollow beneath sheltering trees. Outside your window, rain hums, a lullaby older than time. Let it cradle you. Let go of thoughts like autumn leaves, carried away by a quiet stream. You are safe. You are held. Drift now into the woods where the story begins. Elara walked alone, but not lonely. Her boots sank into rain-slicked moss, emerald velvet. Each step a whispered promise. The forest arched above her, a cathedral of ash anew. Leaves trembled, catching raindrops in translucent cups. Drip, 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 a liquid metronome. She pulled her cloak tighter, wool smelling of wood smoke and damp pine. No birds sang, only the sigh of wet branches and the murmur of hidden streams. Ahead, the path blurred, swallowed by mist. Gray tendrils curled around lichen-stained stones, ancient sentinels marking the way or hiding it. Her fingers brushed a birch trunk, papery bark peeling, revealing secrets in salmon pink layers, like scars or love letters. Rain slid down her neck, cold but welcome, cleansing. She remembered Her grandmother's voice. Rain washes what eyes cannot see. What needed washing? Regrets? Worries? The sharp edges of a fractured day. She lifted her face, closed her eyes, let the sky weep onto her skin. Something glinted through ferns to her left. Not a stone, not a flower, a sliver of blue, cerulean, like a fallen star. She knelt, mud cool, beneath her knees, pushed aside fronds, dew showered her wrists. There, half buried in peat, a tiny bottle, cobalt glass, stoppered with cork, wax sealed, time blackened. Inside, a coiled slip of paper, fragile as a moth's wing. Elaire's breath hitched. A message? A spell? She pried the cork gently. It crumbled like old bones. With trembling fingers, she unrolled the paper. The ink swam, blurred by centuries or tears. Only 3 words remained legible. Find the weeping. A twig snapped, sharp. Close. Elaire froze. Not the rain, not the trees. Something else. Breathing, low and rhythmic. Behind the holly bushes, shadows deepened. Mist thickened, coiling around her ankles like cold fingers. She tucked the bottle into her cloak pocket, heavy suddenly, pregnant with mystery. The breathing sound shifted, moved closer. A shape emerged, not quite animal, not quite tree, knotted wood, and liquid amber eyes, watching her without malice, without warmth. A guardian? A warning? It raised a gnarled hand, pointed east, where the mist glowed with a spectral light, golden, flickering like a drowned lantern. The creature's mouth didn't move, but words formed in Elaire's mind, soft as cobwebs. The path splits where the raven sleeps. Choose wisely, or sleep forever. Then it dissolved into rivulets of rain and shadow, leaving her alone with the bottle's secret and the weeping light, beckoning through the veil of trees. The forest held its breath. Raindrops hung suspended on thorn and leaf. A world paused, waiting for her next step into the luminous unknown, where something ancient was crying in the dark, just beyond sight, just beyond sound, but not beyond feeling. The rain began, not with thunder, but with secrets, 1,000 silver threads, weaving through ancient oaks, on the edge of a slumbering village. A forgotten path waited, drenched in twilight, hungry for footsteps. Before we begin, take a quiet moment to like this story. If it comforts you, subscribe to the channel for more gentle journeys, and let us know in the comments below where you're listening from tonight. We cherish your presence. Now, settle deeper into your pillows, into your blankets. Let your breath soften like mist over still water. Inhale slowly through your nose, filling your lungs with calm. Exhale through parted lips, releasing the day, releasing the weight. Again, breathe in the scent of damp earth. Breathe out tension in your shoulders. Notice your eyelids growing heavy like rain-kissed petals. Feel your fingers uncurling, releasing invisible stones. Listen to the rhythm of your own heart, like distant drums. Gentle, steady, soothing. Imagine cool sheets as soft moss. Your bed, a warm hollow beneath sheltering trees. Outside your window, rain hums, a lullaby older than time. Let it cradle you. Let go of thoughts like autumn leaves, carried away by a quiet stream. You are safe. You are held. Drift now into the woods where the story begins. Elara walked alone, but not lonely. Her boots sank into rain-slicked moss, emerald velvet. Each step a whispered promise. The forest arched above her, a cathedral of ash in you. Leaves trembled, catching raindrops in translucent cups. Drip, 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 a liquid metronome. She pulled her cloak tighter, wool smelling of wood smoke and damp pine. No birds sang, only the sigh of wet branches and the murmur of hidden streams. Ahead, the path blurred, swallowed by mist. Gray tendrils curled around lichen-stained stones, ancient sentinels marking the way or hiding it. Her fingers brushed a birch trunk, papery bark peeling, revealing secrets in salmon pink layers, like scars or love letters. Rain slid down her neck, cold but welcome, cleansing. She remembered her grandmother's voice. Rain washes what eyes cannot see. What needed washing? Regrets? Worries? The sharp edges of a fractured day. She lifted her face, closed her eyes, let the sky weep onto her skin. Something glinted through ferns to her left. Not a stone, not a flower, a sliver of blue, cerulean, like a fallen star. She knelt, mud cool, beneath her knees, pushed aside fronds, dew showered her wrists. There, half buried in peat, a tiny bottle, cobalt glass, stoppered with cork, wax sealed, time blackened. Inside, a coiled slip of paper, fragile as a moth's wing. Alara's breath hitched. A message? A spell? She pried the cork gently. It crumbled like old bones. With trembling fingers, she unrolled the paper. The ink swam, blurred by centuries or tears. Only 3 words remained legible. Find the weeping. A twig snapped. Sharp. Close. Alara froze. Not the rain. Not the trees. Something else. Breathing. Low and rhythmic. Behind the holly bushes. Shadows deepened. Mist thickened. Coiling around her ankles. Like cold fingers. She tucked the bottle into her cloak pocket. Heavy suddenly. Pregnant with mystery. The breathing sound shifted, moved closer. A shape emerged. Not quite animal, not quite tree. Knotted wood and liquid amber eyes, watching her without malice, without warmth. A guardian? A warning? It raised a gnarled hand, pointed east, where the mist glowed with a spectral light, golden, flickering like a drowned lantern. The creature's mouth didn't move, but words formed in Alara's mind, soft as cobwebs. The path splits where the raven sleeps. Choose wisely, or sleep forever. Then it dissolved into rivulets of rain and shadow, leaving her alone with the bottle's secret and the weeping light, beckoning through the veil of trees. The forest held its breath. Raindrops hung suspended on thorn and leaf. A world paused, waiting for her next step into the luminous unknown, where something ancient was crying in the dark, just beyond sight, just beyond sound, but not beyond feeling. The shadow loomed at the clearing's edge, a silhouette carved from deeper darkness than the rain-drenched woods. Its breath, a low, subterranean rumble, vibrating through the wet earth, up Lunara's legs, into her bones, not aggressive, but immense, patient. The golden pull glowed at her back, a silent, radiant question. She didn't dive, nor flee, stood her ground, fingers tightening around the warm cobalt bottle, its heat a counterpoint to the chill settling in her stomach. The shadow took another step, the ferns parting, not crushed, but yielding, as if respectful of its passage, its form resolved slightly, not a beast, nor a man, but something arboreal, ancient. Twisted branches seemed to form limbs, gnarled roots, 4 feet, leaving soft, impressionless depressions in the moss. Its face, if it had one, was a tangle of dark wood and deep hollows where no light dwelt, yet she felt its attention fixed upon her and the bottle. What Lunara's voice, a fragile leaf, trembling in the damp air. Are you? No sound issued from the shadow, but the rumble deepened, resonating in her chest cavity. A feeling flooded her, not words, but understanding, impression, like moss growing over stone, guardian, watcher of the deep places, of the weeping. It gestured slowly, a movement like a heavy limb, swinging not toward her, but past her, toward the archway of living roots. Beyond the pool, the darkness within that arch seemed to pulse in time with the shadow's breath, an invitation or a command. The golden water reflected nothing of this exchange, only its own, luminous, secret. The shadow did not advance farther, remained a sentinel at the threshold of the clearing, its presence a pressure, gentle but undeniable, urging her toward the roots. The bottle thrummed in her hand, the softened wax yielding under her thumb. Now, it seemed to say, now, turning her back to the immense, silent guardian, felt like stepping off a cliff, but the golden glow of the pool held her a beacon. She knelt once more beside the impossible water, its surface smooth, unbroken by the ceaseless rain. The drops simply vanished into its radiance. With careful fingers, she eased the crumbling cork free. The scent that emerged was startling, not decay, but memory. Pressed flowers, old parchment, dust motes in sunbeams, and deep, damp earth. Gently, she unrolled the fragile paper. Inside, the blurred ink had resolved slightly in the pool's glow. More words emerging from time's fog. A message complete now. Find the weeping stone's heart, where roots drink deepest sorrow. Taste the tear. Remember tomorrow. The weeping stone, the raven, its rain-filled eyes, where roots drink deepest sorrow. This place, the archway, the shadow behind her breathed a long, low note, like stone grinding on stone. Agreement or impatience. Elara stood, facing the root arch. The darkness beyond felt less like absence, now more like depth, potential, held breath. The warm glow of the pool lit the first few steps, revealing a short, descending tunnel, walls and ceiling woven entirely from thick, gnarled roots, glistening with condensation, smooth, polished by centuries of slow seepage. Drip, drip, drip. The sound, loud in the sudden, enclosed silence, louder than the rain. Outside, she stepped under the arch. The air changed instantly, cooler, heavier, scented profoundly of rich loam, ancient wood, and that strange, sweet sorrow. It clung to the back of her throat like incense. The golden light from the pool reached only a few paces, fading into a soft, velvety gloom. Elara moved forward, downward, one hand brushing the smooth, cool root walls for guidance, her eyes adjusting to the dimness. The tunnel curved gently, descending deeper beneath the forest floor. The dripping sound amplified, echoing off the close walls. Plink, 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 a heartbeat of the earth. After 20 steps, the last glimmer of the pool's light vanished, leaving her in near darkness, but not total. A faint, phosphorescent glow began to emanate from the roots themselves, a soft, eerie, blue-green light, like foxfire, illuminating the sinuous passage, just enough to see the path. Still descending, the air grew damper, colder, the scent of deep earth intensified, mingled with something mineral, like cold stone or deep well water, and beneath it, undeniably, the ache of sorrow, not her own, but absorbed into the very roots, into the stones, beneath the roots, a melancholy as deep and old as the bedrock. The tunnel opened suddenly into a small, circular chamber, perhaps the heart, the root walls, here glowed brighter with that ethereal, blue-green light, illuminating a space no larger than a shepherd's hut. At the center, a single, thick root descended from the ceiling like a stone pillar, but living, its end thick, blunt, suspended a hand's breadth above the earthen floor. Directly beneath it, a smooth, flat stone, dark basalt, almost black, and on this stone, a perfect, small depression, a cup, hollowed by time or intention, from the tip of the hanging root, a single drop of water formed, swelling, shining in the foxfire glow, hanging, precarious, for a breathless moment, then plink, falling with absolute precision into the stone cup, filling it to the very brim, each drop a clear, luminous pearl of condensed sorrow. Elara approached, Slowly, reverently, this was it, the source, the heart, where the deepest sorrow drank and wept. The air thrummed with silent emotion, a pressure in her ears, on her skin. The stone cup held its tiny, quivering pool, reflecting the ghostly light, not golden like the pool outside, but silver, pure, cool, like moonlight on snow. Taste the tear, the message whispered in her mind. She knelt before the stone, the scent rising from the tiny pool was clean, sharp, like winter air after the first snow. And beneath that deep, ancient ache, she pulled the small bottle from her pocket. Its cobalt blue seemed deeper. Here, in the subterranean glow, the instruction was clear. But how? Dipping the bottle? Cupping her hand? The stone cup was too small, too perfect to disturb, as if sensing her hesitation. The chamber held its breath. The dripping paused. The next drop hung, suspended at the root's tip, glistening, waiting. Alara reached out, not toward the cup, but toward the hanging drop. Her fingertip trembling, barely touching the underside of the quivering silver bead, cold like starlight, searing like ice. The sorrow flooded her, not as pain, but as memory. 1,000 losses, 1,000 sighs, the forest's grief over fallen giants, dried streams, forgotten paths, the weight of time, its passage, leaving only whispers in the roots. The drop, detached, fell not into the cup, but onto her fingertip, holding its shape, a perfect, tiny sphere of liquid silver. Sorrow made solid, light. Taste the tear. She raised her finger to her lips. The drop touched her tongue, cold, blossomed in her mouth like a frozen flower, unfolding, not bitter, not sweet, but clear, profoundly, devastatingly clear, a cascade of understanding washed through her, not images, but feelings, the forest's memories, its joys, under sun-dappled canopies, its sorrows, in the silent fall of ancient trees, the slow ache of change, the beauty in decay, the cycle, unending, life, feeding on loss, loss, giving birth to new life. The sorrow wasn't despair, it was love, love for what was and what could never be again, love so deep it wept, a single tear escaped Lunara's own eye, traced a warm path down her cool cheek, fell onto the earthen floor beside the stone cup, where it vanished instantly, absorbed. The hanging drop resumed its rhythm, plink into the cup, filling it again to the brim. The chamber sighed, a soft shifting of roots, a settling of earth. Lunara understood. Remember tomorrow. Remember the cycle, the beauty in the ache. She carefully uncorked the cobalt bottle, held its mouth just above the brimming stone cup. The silver water seemed to flow upward, defying gravity, a thin, luminous strand snaking into the bottle's neck, filling it with captured starlit sorrow. Its glow intensified, warm now against her palm, pulsing softly like a heartbeat, restored, a sound from the tunnel, not the shuffling shadow, something else, lighter, faster, a skittering like dry leaves scattered over stone, moving down the passage toward the chamber. Multiple somethings drawn, perhaps, by the light of the filled bottle or the disturbance of the tears taking the foxfire in the roots, flickered uneasily, casting dancing, elongated shadows on the chamber walls, shadows that seemed to skitter and crawl closer. The skittering sound grew louder, more insistent. Just outside the chamber's entrance, where the tunnel's gloom held its breath, waiting to spill in, the skittering pressed closer, a dry, rasping chorus, like 1,000 tiny claws scraping over polished root. The foxfire glow flickered wildly, casting frantic, elongated shapes that seemed to leap and crawl across the chamber walls. Shadows with too many legs, too many eyes, reflected in the trembling silver surface of the stone cup. Elara clutched the cobalt bottle, now pulsing with captured starlight sorrow. Its warmth, a small sun against her palm, illuminating her face in the gloom, making her a beacon in the deep. Earth's heart, the skittering, reached the threshold, paused, a collective, hissing breath, drawn from unseen mouths. The air tasted suddenly of dust and dried sap and sharp hunger. She backed slowly toward the root pillar, her shoulders brushing the cool, living wall. No escape that way, only the dripping root, the filled cup, the tunnel entrance, seethed with movement, not creatures exactly, but manifestations, shapes woven from dried leaves, twigs, shreds of bark, and pure shadow held together by the chamber's residual sorrow, like animated debris drawn to the light of the bottled tear. Their eyes, pinpricks of absolute void, fixed upon the glow in her hand, one detached from the seething mass, a construct of oak leaf and hawthorn thorn, scuttled forward on brittle legs, its form shifting, unstable, a mandible of sharpened twig snapped at the air near her boot. Testing, Elara raised the bottle. Instinctively, its light flared, brighter, golden white, honeycomb patterns swirling within the glass. The leaf creature hissed, scuttled back, blinded or burned by the pure emotion it radiated, but others pressed forward, emboldened, a tide of rustling, scraping, shadow. The chamber felt smaller, colder, the air thick with their dry, ancient malice. They wanted the tear, the concentrated sorrow, the love that wept to consume it, to turn its light to dust, just as the first wave surged into the chamber. A deeper sound intervened, not a rumble, but a shift, a groaning of deep earth, like tectonic plates settling from the tunnel behind the skittering horde. Darkness solidified, not shadow, but substance. The massive, arboreal form of the guardian filled the passage, its root feet planted firmly on the earthen floor, its branch limbs unfurling slowly with immense, deliberate power. The foxfire light gleamed on wet, like encrusted wood, in the hollows that were not eyes, but felt like sight. The skittering creatures froze, their dry rustle dying to a terrified whisper. The guardian made no sound, but its presence was a wave of pure, immovable authority. It raised one immense, gnarled hand, not a fist, but an open palm, facing downward toward the seething mass of leaf and shadow. A sigh echoed through the chamber, not from the guardian, but from the earth itself, from the roots woven into the walls, from the very stones beneath their feet. A sigh of profound release. Beneath the guardian's palm, the animated debris began to unravel, not violently, but gently, like old knots, loosening. The dried leaves lost cohesion, floated down like autumn's last breath. The twigs softened, crumbled to rich brown humus. The shreds of bark dissolved into dark soil. The pinprick voids that were eyes winked out like snuffed stars, leaving only a scattering of fertile earth on the chamber floor, and the scent of damp forest floor renewed. The guardian lowered its hand. The deep groan subsided. Its immense head seemed to turn toward Lunara. No face, but the weight of its attention fell upon her, and the glowing bottle of feeling washed over her. Not words, but simple, profound acknowledgement. It is done. The path is clear. It stepped back, melding into the darkness of the tunnel, its presence withdrawing but not vanishing. A watchfulness remained in the cool air. Elara breathed deeply, the sharp fear dissolving like the leaf creatures, leaving only a trembling awe and the bottle's steady warmth. She looked down at the filled stone cup, the silver tear gathered again. Plink, the cycle, unbroken, but she had her share, held safe in cobalt glass. Turning, she moved back through the root tunnel. The foxfire glow seemed brighter, friendlier now, illuminating the smooth, wet walls, the dripping, a comforting rhythm. Plink, plink, plink. At the entrance, the golden pool still radiated its impossible light, unchanged by the subterranean drama. The rain still fell, gentle, persistent. The clearing was empty, the shadow guardian nowhere seen, but she felt its gaze from the forest's edge, protective, approving. The cobalt bottle pulsed in her hand, a gentle thrum, like a sleeping heartbeat, as she stepped past the pool, toward the overgrown path, back toward the stone raven. A strange thing happened where her boots touched the rain-soaked moss. Tiny points of soft light sprang up, fleeting like fireflies, but born from the contact between her soul and the earth. The sorrow light in the bottle seeping out, touching the world, leaving ephemeral stars in her wake. She followed the faint trail of her own luminous footprints back through the dripping ferns. The thorns no longer caught at her cloak seemed to bend slightly away as she passed, respectful of the light. She carried the golden glow of the pool, faded behind her, replaced by the bottle's own gentle, honeycombed radiance, casting soft patterns on the wet leaves. On her hands, a private constellation held in glass. The path seemed shorter this time, or perhaps she walked lighter. The profound weight of the forest's sorrow, understood, held tenderly, had lifted a different weight. From her shoulders, she emerged into the fork, where the stone raven kept its silent vigil. Rain still traced shimmering paths down its granite cheeks, but Lunara saw them differently now, not tears of grief, but of remembrance, of deep, abiding love. She approached the raven, the bottle's light, washing over its rain-slicked form. For a moment, the symbols etched beneath it seemed to glow faintly in response. The constellation of root and river and falling tear then faded back into stone. A soft pulse emanated from the bottle, a warmth that spread up her arm into her chest, guiding her gaze not back the way she came toward the village, but onward down the left path, the one she hadn't taken, the wider way, curving into the whispering pines, the path that had seemed safe, inviting, but empty of mystery before. Now, in the bottle's soft light, she saw what she hadn't, tiny flecks of gold, like dormant embers, embedded in the wet path, leading into the pines, a trail not worn, but waiting to be awakened. Remember tomorrow, the message echoed. This path led forward, led home, but a different home, a remembered tomorrow. She stepped onto the left path, the pine needles, soft, resilient, underfoot, the scent of resin, strong, cleansing, the bottle's glow, intensified, slightly, as if pleased with the choice. The golden flecks in the path seemed to brighten at her approach, guiding her steps deeper into the tall, whispering trees, their high canopy sheltering her somewhat from the rain. A soft, sibilant hush filled the air like distant ocean waves, the pines speaking to each other, to her. After a while, the path began to slope gently downward. The air grew warmer, less damp, the scent of pine mingling with something else, sweet, familiar, wood smoke, and baking bread. A memory tugged at the edge, of her mind, golden, warm, like the bottle's light. The trees thinned ahead, revealing not the village, but a small, perfect clearing, bathed in a soft, diffuse light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Rain still fell, but here it sparkled like falling diamonds in this gentle radiance. At the center of the clearing, a figure stood, bathed in the soft light, not human, not quite, formed of woven light and shifting shadow, like a silhouette cut from sunshine and starlight, its edges blurred, flickering serenely. It held no discernible features, yet emanated a profound calm, a deep, quiet joy. It faced her, seeming to wait in the center of the rain-drenched glade, a silent sentinel of peace, and from it came not a sound, but a feeling of pure, resonant song, a melody without notes, vibrating in the air, in the raindrops, in the very roots beneath her feet, a song of completion, of cycles closed and new dawns beckoning. It was beautiful, heartbreakingly so, filling the clearing with invisible, liquid gold. The bottle in Alara's hand pulsed in perfect time with this silent song, its light reaching out toward the figure like an old friend, greeting an old friend. The figure raised a hand, or a suggestion of a hand, a gesture not of summons, but of invitation, pointing not at Alara, but at the space beside it, in the clearing, where the light seemed to shimmer differently, a vertical ripple in the fabric of the air, like heat haze over stone, but cooler, calmer, a suggestion of an archway, a doorway, not of roots or stone, but of light and air, holding within it a glimpse of impossible serenity, a place beyond rain, beyond sorrow, beyond time, or perhaps deep within it. The silent song swelled, a gentle crescendo of pure, undiluted peace, washing over Alara, filling her to the brim. The cobalt bottle's light, fused with the figure's radiance, creating a bridge of shimmering gold. Between them, across the clearing, the path of light beckoned, the doorway of air waited, holding its breath. The figure's invitation hovered, unspoken, but absolute. What lay beyond? Home? Healing? Or simply the next step in the forests, ancient, whispering, dream? The silent song swelled, filling the clearing, filling Alara, a resonance in bone and blood. The figure of light held its gesture, unhurried, eternal. The shimmering doorway pulsed with contained dawn. Raindrops passed through its veil, unchanged, yet transformed, each one trailing a tiny, prismatic comet. The cobalt bottle in her hand glowed warmer, its honeycombed light reaching across the space, bridging the distance to touch the figure's radiance. Alara stepped forward, not in haste, but in surrender. Each footfall on pine-needled earth released soft sighs of light, golden echoes from the bottle's core. The air thrummed with the unsung melody. It vibrated in her molars, in the hollows of her ears, a harmony older than forests, deeper than sorrow. As she neared the figure, its form clarified, not human, not spirit, but essence, woven from morning mist and stardust, ancient sunlight, trapped in amber rain, its edges blurred like wet watercolor, yet its presence remained solid, real, a quiet exhalation of pure peace wrapped around her, familiar, like a lullaby, half remembered from childhood. Grandmother? The thought escaped, unbidden, a whisper in her mind. The figure tilted, its headless form a ripple of understanding, warm as baked earth. In July, it extended its light-woven hand, palm open, empty, but expectant, toward the bottle. Alara understood, held it out, the cobalt glass, pulsing like a living heart. The figure's touch was cool and warm, simultaneously, like river stones in August. Fingers of light closed around the bottle. For a moment, they stood, connected, hand to light, light to glass, glass to hand, a circuit of shared memory. The bottle's glow intensified, flooding the clearing, gold and silver and liquid blue. Then it dissolved, not shattered, but unwound like yarn, returning to the sheep. The glass became mist, the captured tear became light, the sorrow became love, rising, expanding, a luminous cloud hovering between them. The figure lifted its face to the rain. The cloud of transformed sorrow drifted upward, kissing each falling raindrop, infusing it with gentle gold. The forest breathed in a collective sigh as the golden rain touched leaf, fern, bark, moss. Where it fell, tiny blossoms unfurled, moss glowed, emerald bright, ferns uncurled, luminous fronds. Even the stone raven, far behind, felt its granite heart warm, its rain tears now glistening with inner light. The figure turned back to Lunara, its work complete. The doorway behind it shimmered brighter now, revealing not a place, but a feeling. Rolling hills under a lavender sky, wildflowers nodding, a cottage chimney smoking softly, apple trees heavy with fruit. Not memory, not dream, but potential. A tomorrow woven from peace, from understanding, the quiet beauty. After weeping, the figure gestured once more toward the doorway, an invitation to step through, to claim that serenity. Alara looked down at her hands, empty now, but lighter, fuller. She looked back, the way she came, the dark pine path, the root cellar, the guardian's woods. Each step a stitch in a healing tapestry. She had carried sorrow, given it back as light. Her work Here was done, taking a breath, scented with golden rain and apple blossoms from beyond the veil. She stepped forward, not running, not hesitating, a slow, inevitable crossing. The doorway's shimmer enfolded her like cool silk, like a sigh for a heartbeat. She stood in two worlds, forest behind, promise ahead. Then the clearing dissolved. The figure of light smiled without a face and faded into the rain, into the light. A final thought, brushing her mind like a moth's wing. Remember, sorrow is rain, love is the river. The golden forest released her, not with loss, but with blessing. Roots sighed, stones settled. The weeping had ceased, not forgotten, but transformed, watered into wisdom. The path behind closed softly, like a healed wound, leaving only the gentle drumming of blessed rain on a world made whole, on a heart made quiet. Alara opened her eyes, not in a cottage, not in hills, but in her own bed. Dawn's first light, pearling the window pane. Rain still fell outside, soft, gentle, ordinary rain, yet somehow extraordinary. The scent of damp earth drifted in, mingling with linen, with stillness. Her hand lay open on the coverlet, empty, but in her palm a single mark, a tiny silver circle, cool to the touch, where the tear had landed. A reminder, not of sorrow, but of love's enduring light. She smiled, turned her face to the window, watched the rain trace paths on the glass, each drop a tiny world, holding forests, holding peace, holding the memory of amber eyes in knotted wood, of stone ravens, weeping light, of roots that drank deep sorrow and returned it as blossoms. Her eyelids grew heavy, not with exhaustion, but with fullness. The rain sang a lullaby of release. She let go, sank deeper into pillows, into dreams where golden forests waited and quiet figures of light stood smiling in the soft, merciful dark. The story closes. The rain continues. Gentle, eternal. May you carry its peace into your dreams. Good night, dear listener. May your sleep be deep as ancient roots, your dreams as light as rain-kissed petals, and your waking as gentle as dawn's first breath. Sweet dreams. If this story brought you peace, like the video, subscribe to the channel for nightly journeys. New tales arrive with every sunset. We'll wander woodland paths, starlit shores, and quiet valleys together. Rest now. The forest watches over you.